What a day it was yesterday. Just an unbelievable waves, non-stop action from start to finish. Felipe Toledo, he gave us the best performance, but there was some great turns laid down by many of the world's best, and we're shaping up for another big one between two rookies here, two heavy-set lads. Conor O'Leary up against Frederico Morais, their first heat against one another.
But today's action going to be just as good, as we see Frederico picking up an early wave here in this heat, trying to apply some pressure. He's got himself that big forehand arc. We've seen it at a place like Haleiwa, Sunset Beach, and now we get to see it on these big J-Bay walls. He's got that 6'2" frame, able to really lay into his maneuvers, carries a ton of speed, has a lot of experience from a place like where he grew up in Portugal, so he's used to the wetsuits, he's used to the colder water, and squeaks out the bottom of that. Great move there, because he had that read down the line. Had he stayed up high and tight in that one, probably would not have made the barrel, but he gets a completed ride here. You see again, look at that. Big open arms, wingspan out, good balance, allows him to hold his rail through the maneuver when you're up and you have your body so wide open. It's like a gymnast can do that too. Opens up their arms, really allows that maneuver to look much, much bigger. Same thing there, he changes it up where he puts the forearm up, the back arm goes back, that's the layback.
He's put up some pretty decent heat score totals, so it is harder to maintain that average the more heats you serve. Here goes Conor O'Leary in response to that first ride from Morais, looking to better a 6.67 to win the exchange. Nice bowly looking wave here. Bit of foam on the face to deal with. Just transitioning at this point, waiting for this wave to slow up a little. Got a little hung up in the lip there, and as a result, didn't quite finish the wave the way he would have liked, but some quality turns.
You can see, especially on their turn number 2 in this wave, you can really kind of see that. You see he's quiet, and then it's actually the third turn here, but look, you see he loads it up and then twists right through the, not to our vertical, but doesn't quite have that same drive out of the maneuver that we saw from Owen. Just a little different style and approach. You know, each surfer has their technique and how they do it and how they feel comfortable doing it. You see there it is, it's kind of, it's not twisting all the way through it, and then there really rotates it. It almost goes past vertical. Good technique. Different than what we've seen from Owen, but they're driving through the turn. That's the type of maneuver you have to have here at J-Bay on the backhand to be able to accelerate down the line. It's unfortunate for him that this wave got soupy, because it made it a little more difficult to ride through this inside section. See that head staying low, underneath, putting the hips up. That shows commitment.
I'm going to let you break it down with this split screen look.
Well, I made my analysis that we were going to say that they were fairly different, but when you watch, they're actually very similar. They really are. I mean, they both load up off the bottom. You know, you can see the rotation happening kind of mid-face, very similar, both back-to-back there. They're rotating mid-face to get that vertical approach. Then that down-the-line snap, same that we have to have here at J-Bay. You have to be able to accelerate out of those moves to keep moving that momentum down the line. So again, just a little different styles, but not much. I mean, very similar, really. I mean, those final impact moves, they look very similar. They explode in it and then release out of the maneuver to keep your board out in front of the explosion. So, you know, and there I am kind of thinking that they're different, but they're really very similar.
Welcome back to Heat 4, round 3. Straight back into it with some big sets, and Frederico Morais up on his second wave. Already would have collected enough points to get himself back into the lead, but he wants an excellent number. A beautiful wall stretching out in front, goes to that rail, hooks it under the lip. But this is the major turn that he was looking for to finish. A solid hit there. Conor O'Leary up also, a beautiful set wave. He's going to get caught behind though. Just over 16 minutes to go.
That impossible section, unfortunately, for Conor O'Leary. The outside moves here by Conor O'Leary. Kind of get a lowdown of how it went out for him. First section there, a little flatter, but now starts to steepen up. He's able to snap through that first section and then go vertical. That's the major move for him. So he was able to do that on the outside, but he did not get the finish. That's important here at J-Bay. Whereas Frederico, tinge smaller wave, but got those outside moves, the big round arc, which sets up, again, that steeper section. You have to have that. You have to execute. And you have to time it perfectly, which he has done. You know, right here, you just think, okay, where's the barrel? Where's the barrel? You know, and Frederico seeing that it's not going to happen, so he goes into the big snap. That one there, had to cut it short to set up this section where he really gets to arc it, turn it all the way around on that finish move as the wave shuts down right there in the keyhole. Take a look from the water here. You know, those ribs are still in the face as they move across because the wind's blowing so hard at the top of the point. You'll see a little wind swell come across, but that makes it that much more important to time it perfectly where you're able to kind of do the maneuver between the ribs. What about coaching? Did you have anybody that was helping you?
Yeah, this is a looks like a good wave here from Frederico. Kind of catches a rail on that layback. He's got a beautiful sweeping turn, like a big wingspan. This guy's like an albatross. Looks like this wave is not going to give him everything that he needs, but not a bad ride.
Because absolutely that. You were one of the first guys to bring coaches on and improve competitive surfing. It's a pleasure to have you on board.
Thanks. Stoked to be here, guys.
So you look at the replay here. You know, smaller wave, but it's able to get him a little looser. You see he can get a little quicker in and out of his maneuvers. We'll see what the judges do with this one. You know, he's trying to improve on a 6.03. You see that quickness that he was able to kind of gouge the turns, and those bigger set waves, so hard to do, to gouge those turns in and out of transition. Much easier on these smaller waves, but when you have those big sets, it's really tough for the judges to go big with the numbers here on a wave that's probably half the size. You see again the layback snap, such a great turn. You know, you can really put everything into it. You can lay out, get that back arm involved, and then there's the snapping turn where you cut the arm back through the maneuver, and then there's the big sweep where you keep the arm going through the forward part. That was similar to the second snap, and then just the float. But when he gets that big one where he can bring the arm forward through, where he shows like he's a big bird just carving off the face.
He's scratching. He does get in. Connor careful not to crumble down that section. Frederico driving out onto the open face now. Big hook. Pushing those fins to the point of release. And setting up the inside now. Tucks into the barrel. Oh. This thing is pinching.
Wow.
O'Leary.
Gosh.
Well, there can be that sweep out there in the lineup. Minute remaining now. Connor's going to use this one. It's not a huge wave, but it's stretching out pretty nicely. He maybe will get caught behind here, trying to drive around with the open face. And he is stuck. That heat was really his for the taking. He went to pull the trigger to use his priority, missed the wave, but there was also opportunity later on in the heat as well.
Funky finish, but good one right there for Frederico. He's going to be able to dodge that bullet. A couple sixes are going to get him through, and I'm sure Richard Dog Marsh is going to be pretty excited about it.